Hello and welcome to this week's show. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm your host Trey Winowitz and you're watching Right on the Money. Our goal for the show is to always equip you, the viewer, with accurate financial information so you can make educated decisions for both you and your family. Now we've got a great show lined up for you today, so thanks for watching. We're going to be tackling some difficult financial questions, and we want to take some things that could be somewhat complicated and make them simple and easy to understand. So come on in and have some fun with us today.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, Trey Winowitz was forced to move himself and his family over 600 miles north and begin his financial planning practice again, from scratch. Since then, Winowitz Financial has become a national success story, establishing itself as a trusted source for financial advice in and around East Tennessee. In return, Trey gives back to the community by sponsoring monthly educational workshops and annual charity events. He also hosts a weekly radio show informing and entertaining those in need of financial advice. So, if you'd like to understand more about today's challenging financial environment, if you'd like to overcome your current financial situation, and want to learn from someone with a track record of overcoming, stay tuned for some trusted financial advice that's right on the money.
Now let's get to today's main topic, the facts versus the fiction of refinancing your home. You'll often hear people say that your home and your retirement are your two biggest assets, so you want to be very careful with how you approach financial decisions regarding these assets. Hey Steven, can you help me take care of these? Listen, be very careful with these. Well, today we're going to be talking specifically about your home. Now you don't have to look far to see a lot of interesting things going on over the past few years, financially speaking. A lot of ups and downs in the stock market, a lot of ups and downs in oil prices, a global crisis, and much more. One of the things I've noticed is there's a trend for the Federal Reserve to keep interest rates very low. So what I want to do today is talk about what this may look like going forward. Have you ever wondered about how low interest rates affect the housing market and what this means for you? Do you think it might be time to consider refinancing your house? A lot of folks call us or come into the office these days and they have a lot of questions about refinancing their homes. Sometimes they have us run the numbers to see if it makes sense to do a refinance. And the answer is just not the same for every single person. You have to take a look at your individual situation, figure out all the factors that play a part in coming up with a financial plan that works for you and your family. Luckily, this is the kind of thing I really like to do and help people figure out. So if you call or come by, I'd be glad to sit down with you and analyze your current situation for you. Let's see what's going on and see what might work best for you. Another great thing about coming in to see me is I also have an in-house mortgage company at my office. Executive Lending Group is my trusted independent mortgage provider. The owner, Chris Hogarth, is a personal friend of mine with over 10 years of experience in the mortgage industry. With his help and mine, I feel confident we can help you sort through the details and make the best decision about whether or not to refinance your home or rental property. After this break, we'll cover some of the basics of refinancing. I want to help you answer the following questions. On today's show, what are some reasons that people choose to refinance? When is it a good time to refinance your home? How do you tell whether or not refinancing is a good option for you? And finally, how can you save some money on closing costs when you refinance? Let's go to a commercial, and when we come back, we'll dig a little deeper into this topic of refinancing and what it means for you. I hope you can stick around and stay tuned for more trusted advice that's right on the money. See you back in a second.
Are you planning for retirement? Which path should you take? How can you avoid mistakes? What about a second opinion? Get sound advice for today's market. Make sure your future is secure. With principal protection, reasonable returns, simplicity and safety, call Winowitz Financial today to schedule your complimentary financial review at 865-691-2433.
Thanks again for joining us. I'm Trey Winowitz and you're watching Right on the Money. What are some reasons that people choose to refinance? When is it a good time to refinance your home? How do you tell whether or not refinancing is a good option for you? And finally, how can you save some money on closing costs when you refinance? So number one, you could consolidate outstanding debt. Now this could be a great strategic move, but you need to make sure that you have a financial plan along with this strategy and some accountability in place. The last thing you want to do is recreate that debt that you're consolidating. Number two, you could refinance out of older products and possibly variable rates or balloons to lock into today's new lower fixed rates. Many mortgages sold over the last 5 years have put consumers into a risky position. If you have one of these loans, please give us a call. We can help you. Number three, they want to reduce monthly payments. And number four, they want to save money on the interest rate and then in turn over the life of the loan. Number five, they want to tap into equity and get cash out of their home for improvements to enhance the value of their home. Of course, there are a few important things that you need to consider when you're thinking about refinancing your home. The first thing is the cost. How much is it really going to cost you to refinance your home? What are the possible closing costs associated with the transaction? Is the money that you save going to be worth the price that you pay to get it done? Second, you need to look at interest rates. What's your current interest rate? What rate can you lock in on a new loan? The 2% rule, does it always apply? I tend to think rules of thumb are fine as long as they're applicable to your situation. But sometimes when circumstances change, they just don't apply any longer. It's long been said that you don't need to refinance unless the new rate is 2% less than the current rate. Let me show you an example of how this particular rule could sometimes keep you from making a good decision. So let's take a look at the actual math. Refinancing from an 8 to a 6% rate is a 25% interest rate reduction. Refinancing from a 6 to a 4% rate is 33%. From 4 to 3% is a 25% reduction on interest rate, but that's only a 1% difference. So you see, sometimes you have to look a little deeper in the numbers and get the help of a financial professional to figure out what's right for you. The third thing you need to think about if you're looking into refinancing is your time frame. How long do you think you're really going to live in your current house? Is your current house a fixer-upper? Maybe it needs a little bit of work before you can put it on the market. Do you have a job that requires you to move very often? Will you be retiring soon and possibly downsizing your home? All of these questions are great to apply to your individual situation and help you determine the most appropriate option for you. And by the way, it never hurts to get a second opinion from another qualified professional. Give us a call if you'd like our help. Any people we work with and work with our mortgage providers receive a friends and family discount on their closing cost as well. So give our office a call today. Well, we've talked about why people choose to refinance their homes, and we've covered quite a few factors that you need to consider with regard to refinancing. Coming up after the break, we're going to see in the current housing market what it looks like and how the actions of the Federal Reserve might affect the market in the near future. Both of these things will help you as a consumer determine if it's a good time to consider refinancing. I hope you can stick around and stay tuned for more trusted advice that's right on the money.
For the last few years, it's been harder to make a consistent return on your money. Are you paying too many fees? Could you get cheaper life insurance rates? Could you pay less taxes? Join the hundreds of others that have dramatically saved money using a free fee analysis. That means you've got to make sure your money is working efficiently for you. Call Winowitz Financial today, 691-2433. That's 691-2433, and start saving money today.
Thanks again for joining us. I'm Trey Winowitz, and you're watching Right on the Money, your trusted financial second opinion. If you've missed the beginning of the show, please be sure and go back to our website at treyw.tv. Catch up on what you've missed. It's also a great resource for all of our radio shows and TV shows to have them at your fingertips. You'll also find some great articles that you can read or download, and a few special offers just for our Right on the Money viewers. Now I want to summarize what we've talked about today. We've been discussing refinancing, why people do it, what you need to consider before making a decision for yourself, and now I want to explain to you a little bit about how the Federal Reserve plays a role in interest rates and in the housing market. The Federal Reserve has an open market committee that meets 8 times a year to discuss economic and financial conditions. They also try to determine the appropriate stance on monetary policy for the country. Ben Bernanke is the current chairman of the Federal Reserve, and at Fox Business, the news reports that they've made some comments in the past year or so indicating that the housing market may be extremely affordable for the next year or so. Market conditions are most likely going to warrant exceptionally low interest rate levels for the federal funds rate. Now, according to Wikipedia, the federal funds rate is the interest rate at which depository institutions or banks actively trade balances held at the Federal Reserve. They trade them with each other overnight on an uncollateralized basis. Now, these overnight lending rates are said to stay low at least through 2014. Now, the Federal Reserve doesn't set mortgage rates, but this panel's actions and comments do influence the mortgage market, believe me. When the Federal Reserve speaks out about the economy, the mortgage market listens very carefully, and the price of mortgage-backed securities changes accordingly. What does all this mean to you? It means now's the time to call and see what the actual numbers look like to you and your family for refinancing. So if you're watching today's show and you're thinking about refinancing, here's the bottom line. Sit down with your family and a professional and determine what your goals are with your current mortgage. Number 2, you need to research the cost associated with refinancing in your particular situation. Remember, it never hurts to get a second opinion. Number 3, compare current interest rates with your current rate, but be wary of rules of thumb. Like any financial decision, the correct answer for you could be the incorrect answer for your neighbor. The only way to figure it out and look at the facts is to examine them with a qualified financial professional. Here at Right on the Money, we would love to volunteer to be that trusted financial professional. Let me know if I can help you, and remember to ask about the friends and family discount when you call the office. Coming up next, learn how people just like you have benefited from a no-cost second opinion. Don't miss our Money Matters segment. Stick around for more trusted advice that's right on the money.
Are you planning for retirement? Which path should you take? How can you avoid mistakes? What about a second opinion? Get sound advice for today's market. Make sure your future is secure. With principal protection, reasonable returns, simplicity and safety, call Winowitz Financial today to schedule your complimentary financial review at 865-691-2433.
Now that we're back, I'd like to tell you about some real-life folks that you may can relate to, because it never hurts to have an extra pair of objective eyes take a look at your situation and see what can be improved. Even if strategies that you're using can't be improved on, sometimes people say it's a huge comfort when I tell them that what they're doing is working well, or maybe they should continue on the same path. However, in some cases, we discover that some of the products or strategies they thought worked in a certain way actually don't. And sometimes not getting a second opinion can be very costly. If you want to be a part of this Money Matters segment, please give us a call at the office for a complimentary review. As you'll see, everything's kept confidential, but your situation may help some of our other viewers secure their financial future. So give me a call and maybe your case will get picked for the show. I want to take a second to introduce you to a few people who came in the office recently for a no obligation second opinion, just to be sure. And these people were glad that they did. So let's take a look at this week's case. Hey Jana, can you bring me my notes? Thanks. All right. Today's case study comes from Maryville, Tennessee. Two retired school teachers, the husband 65 and the wife 62. They came in after watching our television show, and then after the TV show they actually called in and signed up for one of our educational monthly workshops. Their main concerns were very, very familiar for folks their age. With all the lowering CD rates and interest rates, their CDs were renewing at very low rates. They were looking for better alternatives. The second thing that they were trying to do as a concern was increase their income. They had the cost of living had just been increasing over the last couple of years with health care, gas, and everything like that. They were looking for a little bit additional income so that they could make sure that their ends were met very nicely. Steps to success. First, we spent a lot of time analyzing their current situation, talking to them about their goals, what they were trying to do, what they needed to do with their money. Then we got actually a meeting with one of our trusted mortgage professionals. In-house, we have a mortgage professional that can answer any question that you'd need about your mortgage, the rates, the terms. In this case, we had them meet about a reverse mortgage and consider that as an option as well. And lastly, we shopped around for some better fixed rates. There's always some different opportunities out there. Being independent, a lot of times you want us to just shop around and make sure that you have the best rates possible. The results. After learning a little bit more about their situation, my recommendation was actually to leave some of their CDs and bank money where it was. Their rates weren't the best, but after meeting with the mortgage professional, we were able to look through some different options, and they actually chose to do a reverse mortgage. This reverse mortgage was a huge help to them. It created about $500 extra every month tax-free income, which was more than enough for the income that they were looking for. And by doing that, we were able to not change some other stuff and leave their emergency fund exactly where they needed it to feel completely comfortable with their financial situation going forward. Give us a call today for a complimentary review, and if your scenario gets picked for the show, you're going to receive a Right on the Money prize pack. But most of all, we want to help you. Coming up next, another opportunity for you to be a part of the show. Post it on our Facebook, tweet us, or email us your financial questions, and stick around for the viewer mail section.
For the last few years, it's been harder to make a consistent return on your money. Are you paying too many fees? Could you get cheaper life insurance rates? Could you pay less taxes? Join the hundreds of others that have dramatically saved money using a free fee analysis. That means you've got to make sure your money is working efficiently for you. Call Winowitz Financial today, 691-2433. That's 691-2433, and start saving money today.
Welcome back to Right on the Money. I'm your host, Trey Winowitz, and it's time for you, the viewer, to be an integral part of this show, Viewer Mail. This is the part of the show where you send us your questions about anything financial. In order to get your questions to me, you can post them on our Facebook page, tweet your question to me at TreyWTV, or email them to me at advice@TreyWTV. If your question happens to get answered for the show, you'll receive a Right on the Money prize pack just for your willingness to help out our other viewers. This package has a retail value of over $50, so please don't stop sending us those questions. Our first viewer mail question today is, what type of U.S. savings bonds should I buy? Well, first let's talk about what you could buy. There are two series of U.S. savings bonds you can purchase, Series I and EE. The I bonds were introduced in '98 to encourage Americans to save. They pay an interest rate and is indexed for inflation based on the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers. The interest then compounds tax-deferred until the bond is redeemed. Series E bonds are fixed-rate bonds where the new rate is based on the 10-year Treasury average. These generally pay a little bit lower interest rate than I bonds, but similar, the interest compounds tax-deferred until it's redeemed. This comes directly from Bankrate.com. One important fact, Series I bonds and E bonds purchased after February 1st, 2003 must be held for 1 year as opposed to 6 months for bonds issued earlier before cashing them in. And our next question is, how do I cash in my U.S. savings bond? Well, most full-service banks and credit unions will cash your EE and your I savings bonds. Now, they can't cash H bonds, but they can forward those to the Federal Reserve Bank, who will cash them for you. You can have the funds then deposited directly into your checking account or savings account through direct deposit. I would caution you, however, sometimes there's tax consequences for cashing in these bonds, so you may sit down with me or some other independent advisor to see if this actually makes sense. You want to make sure that your decision that you make on the bonds fits into your overall financial plan. The last question we have time for today is this: why should I invest? Well, you know, there's only two ways to make money. You can work, or you could have your assets work for you. If you keep your money in your back pocket instead of investing it, your money doesn't work for you, and you'll never have more money than what you save. Now, by investing your money, on the other hand, you're getting your money to generate more money for you by earning interest on what you've saved or buying and selling assets that increase in value. I actually have an entire show about all the different places that you can invest your money. Give me a call at the office and we'll send you a complimentary DVD, or better yet, give us a call at the office and we'll schedule a visit and we can go through them in detail so you can specifically figure out what works for you. An important note, you should never invest in something that you don't understand or feel comfortable with. So before you invest, generally look at a longer term plan. You definitely should just start saving. Save for short-term emergencies. Generally 6 to 9 months of your expenses is a good place to start. Personally, I would make sure this is done first. But thanks for your question and we'll talk to you soon. Stick around after this short break for Right on the Street. See what some local people just like you think about the stock market and other financial topics. You may actually see someone that you know.
Are you planning for retirement? Which path should you take? How can you avoid mistakes? What about a second opinion? Get sound advice for today's market. Make sure your future is secure. With principal protection, reasonable returns, simplicity and safety, call Winowitz Financial today to schedule your complimentary financial review at 865-691-2433.
For the last few years, it's been harder to make a consistent return on your money. Are you paying too many fees? Could you get cheaper life insurance rates? Could you pay less taxes? Join the hundreds of others that have dramatically saved money using a free fee analysis. That means you've got to make sure your money is working efficiently for you. Call Winowitz Financial today, 691-2433. That's 691-2433, and start saving money today.
And we're back. This is Right on the Money, and I'm Trey Winowitz. See what some local people just like you think about the stock market and other financial topics. You may actually see someone that you know. Tell me what you do for a living.
I'm a realtor in Knoxville.
Okay. And real estate prices in general, are they low or are they high?
In general, probably since 2007, they've been lower than normal, but Knoxville really hasn't been hit like some of the other metropolitan cities, so we're doing okay.
Okay. If you're refinancing your house, with a mortgage, you have a certain interest rate you might be paying. How much lower would your interest rate need to be to make it good for you to refinance your house?
I don't know.
Okay. How much lower than their existing rate should someone's mortgage, or should the interest rates be if someone should refinance?
Oh gosh, I think it's like 2%, is that?
Okay, yeah, it's a common rule of thumb.
Yeah.
When do you think a good time to refinance a property or a house would be? What are some different reasons that people should refinance their home?
To lower their monthly payment. I don't know why else you do it.
Yeah, maybe to save some interest over the life of the loan.
Oh, sure.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
And would you say real estate's a good investment for someone to make?
Definitely.
Okay.
I still think real estate's a good investment, yes.
Refinancing your house, is it really expensive? In your opinion, you think it's really expensive to refinance your house?
Yeah.
Okay, it can be for sure.
Yes. A good time to borrow some money if you want to have a house.
All right, so let's talk about that because part of the show is going to be about refinancing. We're about a 40-year low in interest rates right now.
It's pretty unreal.
It is. What do you think someone should consider, or when's the time to consider refinancing their home or some property?
I think when you're not going to move for the next 2 or 3 years, when you're pretty settled where you're going to be for a while.
There's investments in rental properties right now.
Right.
There's still people flipping houses, buying them low, fixing them up. So there's still all around a lot of opportunities.
You think that'd be a good thing, maybe?
That'd be a good thing.
And we're back. This is Right on the Money, and I'm Trey Winowitz. We're just getting ready to wrap up the show, but before we go, I'd like to tell you about an old Louisiana tradition called lagniappe. Lagniappe means to give someone a little something extra. And the way that we want to do that here at Right on the Money is to brighten your day at the end of our show. So with that, here's a little lagniappe for you. A man walking along the road on a countryside comes across a shepherd and a huge flock of sheep. So he tells the shepherd this, "I bet you $100 against one of your sheep that I can tell you the exact number in this flock." The shepherd thinks it over and he says, "Man, it's a big flock." So he decides to take the bet. 973, the guy says. Shepherd's astonished. "Man, that's exactly right." "Okay," he says, "I'm a man of my word, so take an animal." So the guy picks up one and begins to walk away. Wait a minute," says the shepherd. "You might have a chance to get even. I'll give you double or nothing. I can guess your exact occupation." Man says, "Sure." "You're an economist from a government think tank." "That's amazing," said the guy. "You're exactly right. But tell me, how did you know that?" "Well," the shepherd said, "why don't you put down my dog and I'll tell you." And that, my friends, is a little lagniappe for today. I want to personally thank you for watching our show today. I hope you found our show helpful as well as a little bit entertaining. If there's anything at all I can help you with financially, please don't hesitate to call our office. And remember, any plan that we come up with will always have 3 main goals for your money. Safety first, or protection of your principal, is always number 1. Making a reasonable return on your money in what some would consider an unreasonable market. And number 3, keeping your plans simple and easy to understand. If that sounds like something you want, I know I can help you. Also, please keep the financial questions coming. We'll do our best to get them answered on the show. I'll see you next week at 3 o'clock for more trusted advice that's right on the money.